The mission of the Friends of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries is to support the Santa Cruz Public Libraries through fundraising, volunteer services, and advocacy. Our goal is to create stronger neighborhoods, a culturally enriched county through accessible and diverse library programs. We're hoping that you will enjoy today's program and consider donating to the Friends through our website, fscpl.org. We are fortunate today to have three distinguished guests who will answer your questions about the Capitol campaign, the library, and the city of Capitola. Gayle Ortiz will be hosting the video, and then she'll be here to answer questions specifically about the Capitol campaign. Gayle's the owner of Gayle's Bakery and Rotisseria, former Capitola City Council member and mayor, has served on the Planning Commission as well as several other boards and committees in Capitola. She was instrumental in developing an agreement with the county to begin saving funds for the Capitola Branch Library. She served as the co-chair for the Library Capital campaign that raised over $750,000 to add some of the improvements you will see in the video tour. Also with us, we have Eric Howard. He's been the assistant director of the Santa Cruz Public Library since the summer of 2019. He lives in Scotts Valley with his wife and two daughters. He began supervising public libraries in Queens, New York, and worked at the Palo Alto City Library and the Salinas Public Library. As the assistant director of the Santa Cruz Public Libraries, Eric oversees the library's operations. We also have with us Yvette Brooks, who is the first Hispanic mayor for the city of Capitola. She is an advocate for early childhood education and youth programming, a mother, wife, and employee of the Santa Cruz County Office of Education. Yvette is the second vice president for the League of Cities Board of Directors, sits on the Central Coast Community Energy Policy Board, Cabrillo College President's Advisory Committee, Capitola Finance Advisory Committee, LAFCO, and the Children's Advisory Council.
It's the new library. Will you look at that? It's the new Capitola Library. Unbelievable! It's almost open. Come on in, I'll show you. So welcome to the inside of the library. This library began to be planned in 2000 by the city of Capitola, and they began saving money at that time. But of course that wasn't going to be enough money, so Measure S came along, and all of the wonderful citizens of Capitola and this county unanimously almost supported Measure S, and we got quite a bit more funds from that. And then Capitola, on top of that, added more funds. So we've got a very special library, a regional library that we can be really proud of. So here we are in the foyer. It's the active spot of the library where people come in and meet their friends, pick up their children. It's going to be a bustling spot. And over to my right, the Capitola Historical Museum has donated a wonderful interpretive cabinet for us. We'll be seeing ever-changing, wonderful shows for the history of Capitola. Over to my left is our electronic checkout station, which isn't quite finished yet, as you'll see in the library. Lots of things aren't finished yet, but you're getting a sneak peek. So here's the checkout section. You'll see a little bit of the screens that are going to close this section off so that at night, when you see it, the community room over here will be able to be used by our community for different events. People will be able to utilize the bathrooms, but they will not be able to get into the main part of the library. So it's really important that we're able to use that community room for many, many hours a day, because it's one of the things our community really wanted. So we'll move into the library a little bit. And coming over to one of the areas that our research told us everyone wanted above all in this library, and that was a fireplace area and a fireplace. So right now we've got the benches that are going to go into the front of the library, but we've got wonderful chairs tables and lamps and things that will make this feel kind of like a living room. And when that fireplace is lit, it's just one of the most exciting spots of this whole building. So now I'm going to take you into a spot that you're not going to be able to ever see again after this, because once the librarians get there and start doing their work, you won't be able to get back there anymore. We're going to take you back into the librarians' offices. Plenty of workspace, and as you can see, you're going to begin to see that this library was built with windows that look out onto trees everywhere. Every site, every window you look out, you will see trees. Right now we're looking out onto the Rispin Gardens and the Rispin Estate across Wharf Road and looking towards Soquel Creek. So here's a number of workstations. The library manager's office, a break room that anyone would be jealous of, a wonderful break room, looking out onto trees everywhere, oaks and eucalyptus and everything. One of the things about this library is that it's very energy efficient. Lights go on when you come into a room and they go off when you leave the room. One of many, many environmental factors they put into this library. We do not have a LEED certification because we did not want to spend the money for a LEED certification, but every effort was made on every level to meet those requirements, and they have. So let's keep going. We'll move out into, did you ever want to know where your books go when they get dropped off? Here's the space. So over here is one of our book drops, and that's the one that is on the face of the building. You'll be able to walk up, drop your books off, and they get sorted here, bookshelves, so that they go to all other branches as needed, as requested. And then the back door is where the librarians will cross the parking lot to access the drive-through book drop. So we have 2 book drops for this library, which is really important. One, you will not have to get out of your car, and the other, you can just come up to the library and drop off. And let me show you one of many meeting rooms that we've got, private meeting rooms. This meeting room was donated by the Shadowbrook Restaurant. It's in honor of Brad McDonald, one of our first mayors and the man who founded the Shadowbrook Restaurant. It's got beautiful upgraded fixtures and furnishings that our campaign, the Capital Campaign, was able to contribute to, so that our library is really special. And now here we are in the main reading room. And I want you to take a look at the ceiling of this room. The ceiling of this room was designed to look like the under hull of a wooden boat. We wanted a nautical theme, a beachside theme for this library, but we didn't want the traditional surfboards and starfish on the walls and that kind of thing, but we wanted it to feel like it was placed in a coastal community. And so every effort has been made to have it feel like an old wooden boat inside. And the ceiling is certainly a huge part of that. Modern library bookshelves are made lower so that they do not have to be bolted to the floor, and will make this space much more flexible in the future. Libraries today are evolving constantly, and so to be able to move these for an event or move these because the library is being used in a different way was really important. So you'll see that the first few bookshelves are quite a bit lower. So as we move back into the library, I'm going to start showing you smaller and smaller rooms, breakout rooms that are again made for flexibility. All spaces in this library were made for flexibility. So follow me. And the first one we come to is the teen room. It's built to be able to see teens but not hear them. It's important for the librarians to be able to keep track of what's happening in the teen room, but we wanted to give them a bit of privacy. So when these doors are closed, you really can't hear anything. And when you walk in this room, as all rooms, as you walk further back in the room, more and more lights go on. And when I walk away, they will go off. So nice spaces for them to sit and chat. There are whiteboards. There's a screen for them to show movies or see homework being assigned. Again, flexible spaces. All the new furniture has got built-in electrical outlets for laptops. Laptops will also be at the library, and you'll be able to use them here or even outside on the patio. The librarian's desk was situated in a way that they can see pretty much everything that goes on in the library. They see the front door from this station. They can see this area, and all of the rest of the building has windows so that you can look through and see what's going on. Really important for librarians today. And then you'll take a look at that beautiful clear-story bank of windows up there, again looking out onto the heritage oak trees in the tot lot. It's made so that very little lighting is going to be needed during the day here. And this area is the gallery, and it's the gallery because once they get framed, the old artwork from the Capitola Book Cafe will be on both of the walls in this room. So we called it the gallery. It again has flexible seating capabilities. It can have tables for groups of people, it can have chat areas for just 2 people, it can have nothing if we're having a large event and we need a lot of open space, and this goes into the children's wing, which we'll see in a minute. So this is a real, I think, pivotal part of this construction where it links the 2 wings of this library. It's the only area that really does that. Here is another of our breakout multi-purpose rooms. It's the largest one we have, and it's in honor of Barbara Gorson, who was the president of our Capitola Friends group. She was pivotal in starting the planning for this library, and we thought we would honor her by the Friends donating the funds to upgrade all of the fixtures and the screen in this multi-purpose room. So we can see, there'll be knitting guilds, there'll be study groups, there will be the bird watchers will come in and meet here. There will be so many ways that these rooms will be used in the future. It boggles the mind. It will be, these will never be empty. My guess is never be empty. Here's another small group meeting room. I could see this for tutorials for somebody who needs to be tutored, or a small group. And then, as I mentioned, we start getting back into the quieter areas, the big book stacks, and then one of my favorite spots of the library. This is the Rissman Outlook area, and it's on the corner of Wharf Road and Clare Street, overlooking the Rissman Estate and the Rissman Garden. I have a feeling this is going to be one of the most sought-after areas for reading a newspaper, reading a book, just sitting and enjoying the view. And here's another little reading nook where people can come and really be quiet, really feel like they're away from everything. Wonderful lamps on the table to make you feel like you're in someone's living room. Again, it will look out onto the gardens once they are installed and developed, and to me would be the quietest area of this whole library. So follow me into the children's wing. So here we are in a room that the designers wanted to look like it was the outside, those beautiful oak trees outside, slowly making their way into the building. And as the further into the building you get, the more you get into a real building. So the carpet starts out to be green, and then it slowly moves into gray, which is what it is throughout. The leaves that were made by a designer who is also a designer for Broadway musicals, designed these and made these wonderful corrugated leaves up on top, so you feel like you're still outside when you're in the children's wing. All of these lights are not real light. They are clear story light tubes, so no lights are needed for this during the day. And then here's a little bit more of what the capital campaign funds went for, which was, I can see a mom or dad here reading stories to their little one, or two little ones reading together. Everything is child size here, and it looks out onto our beautiful tot lot and the wonderful community patio that we've constructed. And I will take you out in just a second. So as you move further back into the children's wing, you get into the really fun part, the really fun little places where they're going to sit and color and play and read books together. These tables can be moved so that they can sit on the floor for a reading hour if they want to. Wonderful padded nooks in the wall that are lit, and those will never be empty. Those are going to be full with happy kids as long as the library is open. And then off of this room is our last group study room, a small group study room for tutoring in smaller groups. Now let's go to the community room. So here we are walking into the community room in another nice flexible area of this library. These walls close or open depending on the use. So if we have a large children's event where they're, let's say, doing paper mache or coloring or doing a big project, these walls will open and they'll be able to set up tables there too. So we can expand the children's wing, or we can expand the community room up to about right here, and children can still be there. Nice, big community room, which Capitola needs. We do not have one, and this, again, another space that will never be empty, day and night. Two nice whiteboards. In the center will be another screen. Again, the beautiful cutout leaves on the ceiling and the light tubes, and these are lit only at night, would be lit only at night. There's storage for the tables and chairs, the extra tables and chairs. And I want to take a little detour and show you one of the most important features of this library, in my opinion, and that is our donor wall. And this represents the people who donated to this library, not only businesses, but private residents, and mostly from Capitola. So they're meant to look, every single one of these little leaves and little areas here it's meant to look like leaves, again, to have the natural feel to it. It goes all the way down there and all the way here. And this represents the people who donated $1,000 and up. We had many, many more donations under $1,000 that could not be represented on this wall. But it's super important to us, and we're very, very grateful to all the donors. And let's walk out onto the deck. So at night, when there's an event happening in the community room, people will be able to come out here and socialize as well out here. Possibly trays of food would be out here. People, chairs and tables, and people can chat into the evenings. During the day, this Wi-Fi is available on this patio and deck, and people will be able to bring their laptops out, connect to the Wi-Fi, and be able to use this area to still be outside and do their business. And as you can see, we had hundreds of people contribute to our paver program, and just reading these is loads of fun. There's so many fun sayings. I wish I could find one right now. Just great, also heartwarming sayings. One is, every chapter is a new beginning, Strock family. One says, read and be kind. And the other one says, thanks, Mom and John, we love Capitola. Just lots of heartwarming sayings here. So walking around the corner, the beautiful landscaping that it will grow up to really make this area feel lush. This deck here is accessed through the children's wing and through the main building door and the community room door. We'll have outdoor furniture, provide shade in different spots throughout the day, and it's going to be really, really utilized. And then for moms and dads who want to watch their kids and read a book while they're doing it, they can sit on the patio, and the tot lot is right here, and they can watch the kids. So that's our tour. This is our new library that we're so proud of, and I know when you get a chance to see it in person, you are going to be as amazed as everyone I've seen look at it for the first time. It is truly an exceptional building, and one that not only Capitola can be proud of, but the whole of the county will be proud of when they see it.
Gayle Ortiz, thank you so much for doing that tour. Is there anything that you'd like to add now that we've seen the tour and the library's been open? Well, not open, but the library's moved on.
Yeah, the city of Capitola has handed it over to the library system, so they are now putting in the books, and the librarians are there working on it. And I'm sure that Eric could tell us exactly when, or maybe around when, the library is planning to open for any kind of hours would be great. But I just want to impress on people that the city of Capitola really went all out on this library. They did not spare anything. They got the best designers. They got the best landscape architect. They did it right from the very beginning, and it shows. As I said in the video, everyone I've talked to or seen while they were going through the library to begin with for the first time was just gobsmacked about it, just completely in awe of how beautiful it is and how much better it's turned out than they even thought. So yes, it's a huge building, and it's a big building for Capitola, but this is a building that is a regional asset, and I'm so proud of Capitola for having it within our city limits. So for years and years, decades to come.
Eric, would you like to talk a little bit about when it's going to be open and the hours and those kind of things?
Yes, and first, Gayle, I want to thank you, Keith, all of the friends, the mayor. This is truly a community library. It is the effort of so many people and donors, and it is absolutely stunning when you see it in person. So it's a phenomenal work. We had a very good week this week. We had our board meeting, and Many of you know that it's been obviously a hard year. It's been a hard year too, not just because of COVID for the library, but because of anticipated revenue shortfalls. Last spring, we had to reduce staff by over 60. That is in addition to furloughs that all staff had to take, and then we had to freeze multiple positions over the course of the year. And the reason why it's been a good week this week is because we are getting a restoration of our funds, which is badly needed to bring back our service hours. So the goal right now is to bring back 7 days a week for July. And then we'll phase up from that. And that the goal is because we need to recruit that staff and bring them back on board. And so we hope to do that. And then we hope to be back to our standard operations in September. But we're going to go really kind of full force with Capitola beginning in July. We will have some timed in-person tours in mid-June for everyone to see it. And then beginning June 15th, it will begin a Tuesday through Saturday service. And so we hope to see everyone coming in, and we'll have a number of activities and events during those first couple weeks that we're open in June. And then we'll be having programs throughout the summer, or activities really that you can take advantage of. Our summer reading program is still going to be virtual for the summer, but the standard operations of having people back in the buildings for programs, we're looking at early fall to begin that.
Thanks, Mike. I would like the current mayor to get a chance to tell us more about what's going on at Capitola. I see you had your hand up, so we're calling on you.
What I'll add is just, I first want to say thank you to our electeds and our donors, our community members, and our library champion, Gayle Ortiz, for just really making this happen. I am just so honored to be able to see from groundbreaking to grand opening. And I'm really excited to be able to see this unfold right before our eyes. My 6-year-old is ecstatic to participate in the summer program and to get in there soon. As Gayle showed us in the video, the cute little nook she was able to take a quick peek in, and is over the moon excited to participate. So great idea to the team, to Gayle. Thank you so much, Eric Howard, for helping support this project, and to all of our community members, and once again to our donors. So thanks.
Is that unmuted?
Yes, you're on.
Okay, question. I'm Ann's husband, so we're both on hers. Number one, is there going to be any kind of actual maybe pre-opening for people who've donated to see the library, to actually go through it?
Well, actually, I'm happy to answer that question. We're going to have a grand opening on June 12th. The morning will be a virtual program with elected officials in the library talking through a Zoom meeting. But the afternoon will be tours that you can sign up for on the library's website. That's santacruzpl.org. That's not up there yet, but watch it, and we'll have staff and volunteers there to lead tours that afternoon. Then the following week is going to be a whole grand opening week. And during that week, on demand, usually at 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if there are people who want a tour, even though the library is open, you get to learn a whole lot more by taking a tour. We're going to have volunteers that could show up and take you on a tour during the whole grand opening week.
Then the second thing, just too bad. I was looking for, when Gayle gave us the tour, the only thing missing is there's not a little Gayle's Bakery stand in there with little books made out of cake.
Bite your tongue.
It'd be so great to sit on that patio and eat little Gayle's pastries and have a bowl of soul.
Wouldn't it be great? But I've heard, and maybe Eric can talk about this. I believe that that you will be allowed to eat in this library. Is that correct? Am I right in saying that? That's now something that's allowed in libraries?
You're really putting me on the spot on that one. I have to I don't, right now in June, we won't be doing that with COVID. And so I love to eat, and I love to make the library as welcoming as possible. And breaking bread always helps with that. So we'll see where things go.
That was a good answer.
Now, also, one other thing, I mean, in view of the times we live in today, is there any special security that's been put into this library?
Do you want to be maybe more elaborate on the question?
I mean, is there, I don't know. I mean, anything can happen these days. What is in this library? If some event were to occur, is there any special things that have been built into this library to help in such events?
For vandalism, you mean?
I could speak to that just a little bit. And in the design, there was another exit that got nixed because it was the librarians would not have been able to see it. So we nixed that, and it was in close proximity to the children's room. So we felt like that was a place that could conceivably create problems in the future. So one of the things that I know is that the librarians can see all entrances and exits. And I know they are trained for security purposes. They've got a lot of experience in it already. And as far as I know, there are cameras in the library. Isn't that right, Eric? There are cameras installed in the library.
Yes, that was a great answer. And that, I think, though, the biggest component to security is what Gayle just mentioned, which is the training of staff. And that's something that is ongoing. And librarians who have worked with the public, that we're always learning how to manage situations, and that's also a perpetually evolving work of ours. But having those clear sight lines, and that's also one of the advantages to having the low bookcases as well, is so that we can see across the entire library.
Okay, I'd like to get the next person. Shannon has got her hand up. I'd like Shannon to get a chance. Be sure to remember to unmute yourself. You're muted right now. There you go.
Hi, the mayor mentioned some children's programs possibly in the summer, and I hadn't seen any information about that yet. I was wondering if you could speak a little bit about what we could look forward to.
So right now, the programs are going to continue to be virtual because we had to plan those months in advance. And we didn't know what the situation was going to be during the summer. We are going to have 3 events outside, one in what we see as each of the regions of the county. And so that'll happen towards the end of the summer. And we anticipate, or we really expect, our standard operations to come back in the fall. And it's really it's a function of a number of things. As I mentioned at the beginning, we've had our staff reduced significantly. So to have the staff plan and then know that we would have the staff to run the programs, that's been up in the air until just this week, when our funding levels were restored.
I'd like to also mention that on the grand opening day and the grand opening week, there's going to be grab and go activities for kids.
Thanks.
Can I ask a question? I get asked a lot. Will there be a charge for any of the breakout rooms, the community room, the meeting room, the two small meeting rooms, and the larger meeting room? I know the teen room is not, but the other ones that you would have to sign up for. Will there be charges for that?
We're really operating with the mindset that it's going to be a no fee space. Good question.
Great. So next up, I see Laurie Hill. If you would unmute yourself, you can talk now.
Great, thank you so much. On behalf of myself and also my husband, Richard Hill, I want to congratulate both the library system and the city of Capitola. I'm so proud of the library and how it just came together so beautifully as a community access, and with so little controversy to get this beautiful, beautiful building built. But, and thank you to Gayle Ortiz for her leadership in that area. My question is, will there be any wall space available for temporary art exhibition? And also, I serve as a Capitola Art and Cultural Commissioner, and I've been leading the Capitola Plein Air event. And I was wondering, would there possibly be a space maybe in the future to hang our Capitola Plein Air winners?
Gail, I wasn't involved because I came in 2019, so I wasn't involved in the planning of its design. And I'm not sure if you are aware of the design aspects that would help support that. I know that you talked about the gallery supporting the items from the local bookstore that had existed, but I don't know if they had maybe anticipated also maybe evolving or using a revolving system there for artwork.
Those installations are permanent. We made a commitment to the owners of the Capitola Book Cafe, so those will stay up. It's my understanding, and I think that the community room, I believe we made an agreement with the Capitola Historical Museum to put up a revolving historical display in the community room. That did not go up before we handed it over to the library system, so that will be up to the library system and the museum. But what I have always been told by the library staff is that that's a function of the library. That is a policy, that is a library system-wide policy that doesn't change branch to branch. So whatever that policy is for the Scotts Valley Library, for the new Aptos Library, I believe it will all be the same. Is that your understanding, Eric? That's a library function, and it's an overall policy.
Yeah, and we can work with you. I mean, some spaces provide an easy way to move a revolving kind of art show around, and I wasn't sure if that's in there or not. But we can certainly work. What I would recommend that you do is you reach out to Mel, who's the branch manager, and check in with her. She'll certainly be on site for the tours coming up, and we'll be there during our opening week, and is a great person to make a contact with, and then we can go from there.
Thank you.
Okay, next I see Jody has a question, has her hand up. You can unmute. Oh, yep,
yes, hi. My name is Joni Janecki, and I am fortunate enough to have been the landscape architect and continue to be the landscape architect on the project. And me, along with all the others in our office, are just so happy to have had the opportunity to work with everyone. And I felt it was important for me to raise my hand so that I could say thank you to Gayle and to the Friends and to the city of Capitola and the design and construction team. I mean, it really did take all of us working together, but it definitely took a lot on your end to make it happen. So we really appreciate it and hope that, we all get to enjoy the library inside and outside for many generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you. And we're all looking forward to seeing the final landscaping at the library. So I see Michelle has got her hand up. Looks like you're unmuted. Go ahead and ask your question.
Okay. Can you hear me now? This is actually Gordon, Michelle's husband. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So I'll certainly echo what everybody else says. Whenever I jog or walk by the museum, I just think it feels like this is a museum. The library, it feels like something that LA would have built, or San Francisco. Can't believe that it's actually the Capitola part of our collection of wonderful architecture. So kudos to everyone on that. I saw, I know there's some areas for the Capitola Museum exhibits to go in. And has there been some coordination done between the library and Frank Perry, our museum director, to kind of pull together or set a timeline up for what we can put in there and when? That's really the first question. The second is, we participated on a meeting to discuss the Rispin Park area across the street. And just curious if you have any updated knowledge about where that particular project stands in that landscaping effort.
To answer your first question, there's been a lot of coordination with the city of Capitola and the museum to build that structure, and there was an agreement set in place, I believe. And
Right.
again, now that it's been turned over to the library system, I'm not exactly sure how they're handling that communication. And are you, Gordon, are you still on the board of the museum?
I am.
Okay, well,
So
it would be a really good thing if you would stay on that and make
Right.
sure that that project gets seen through. It needs glass on the front and all of that. So, but Frank would be the one to really talk to about that. He's stayed on it very well.
and Mel is the person you said that from the library. That's the contact person.
She's the branch manager, and I think too, I'll give out my email so that if these are all really good questions, and if you think of other questions after this program, you can email me with them, and I'll find the right person who knows the answer to it. So
Okay.
it's Howard E. So my last name and then E, HOWARDE at SantaCruzPL.org. We're a .org. So
It's Santa Cruz what?
Santa Cruz PL for Public Library, PL.org.
Got it. Okay, great.
I
So
can tell you that the librarians are working with Frank so that on grand opening day, there will be a display of the history of the library in Santa Cruz, and Capitola, I'm sorry.
Right.
Great. And part two of the question, I don't know, Gail, do you know any kind of progress on what's going on across the
I
street?
can take a stab at that. Hi, it's
Okay.
Mary. Yeah.
Great.
And so the Capitola City Council just recently passed, approved the conceptual design for the park right across the street. And we just put out to, just submitted the grant application to receive the funding. So we're just waiting on the funds to come in to complete that project.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, I don't see any other questions. If there's anyone else that has a question, it's okay to ask it now, or I can ask my distinguished guests if they want to wrap up with anything.
I think we've covered it pretty well.
Yeah, I want to say the whole country, the whole world is hungry for having community spaces again. So it's coming online really right at the right time. I know it's nice to have enormous events around the opening of libraries, and we just haven't yet been able to do that, but we will. And then we will soon be enjoying those community spaces. So it is really terrific that the library is there to do that for everyone during this time.
Yeah, I do have a question. Do you know when Aptos is going to close?
We're closing the same week that we were the week prior to opening up Capitola.
Yeah.
And then we're going to be moving a lot of staff over from Aptos over to Capitola.
Yeah, so we'll look forward to seeing, a broader segment of the population during that time that Aptos is closed for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know he's moving plants?
I think that Live Oak's going to be closing later in the summer also, right, Eric?
That's correct. Yes.
So I think the Capitola is going to be swarmed.
And I'll say that even without those closures, typically when a brand new library comes online, you double the circulation than you did prior, because people want to check it out. They haven't been to a brand new library in a long time or ever. I mean, it's a modern library, so the county hasn't had too many of those, and so it's really nice that we have one in Capitola. So a lot of people will be checking it out from Capitola, but then also, you're right, from the surrounding area as well. It'll be busy.
Great, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I cannot wait to get in there.
All right, well, I'd like to thank everyone who joined us today and remind you that this is brought to you by the Friends of the Library. And if you feel so inclined, please go to our website and you can make a donation. And we're going to close it out now and look forward to seeing everybody in the new library. Thank you.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everybody. See you at the library.